Hi everybody, welcome to the 4 to 5. I'm Eric Chilton here with Chad Silver and Lauren Coleman.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching us on News 2, Fire Stick Roku, and the News 2 app.
Coming up this half hour, we're going to be talking about Hispanic Heritage Month, and the best way to celebrate that is with food. Unfortunately, we're not making food here, but there is a recipe that you have to see.
Sounds good, but first we're going to jump into some of your headlines with our 4 to 5 roundup. Right now, we have new details on a double homicide in Graham. Chantel Rogers says her 16-year-old son, Melvin Wiley, is one of the two victims. Investigators found Wiley and another 16-year-old dead last month in the woods behind Graham Village Apartments. Yesterday, police arrested a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old with the murders. Rogers told us she isn't ready to go on camera, but she did provide us with a statement. It reads, "My son always had a smile on his face. He had a personality that would make anyone's day. He was a loving son, brother, grandson, and friend. I strongly encourage parents to watch who they allow their kids to be friends with. My son actually thought that these guys were his friends. They've spent the night over my house several times. This really hurts." We also did reach out to the family of the other 16-year-old victim. We'll let you know when we hear back from them.
Police are searching for a 17-year-old accused of killing two teenagers, one of them from Alamance County. Investigators found the bodies of 14-year-old Lyric Woods and 18-year-old Devin Clark Sunday in Hillsborough. We don't know a possible motive or the suspect's name at this point. The acting district attorney in Orange County told us 17-year-olds could be tried as an adult.
The district attorney is able to take that case to either the grand jury or a district court judge, and if either of those find probable cause that the crime has been committed, then there is a hearing in front of a district court judge. But at that point, if that finding is made, if the defendant is 16 or 17, I should say, then the law says that the judge shall transfer jurisdiction to the Superior Court or adult court.
State lawmakers changed the law in 2019, saying 16 and 17-year-olds who commit crimes are no longer automatically charged as adults.
A judge has ordered retrial for a Davidson County murder case that sparked national attention. Back in 2015, father and daughter Tom Martins and Molly Corbett were sentenced in the death of Jason Corbett. Jason Corbett was Molly Corbett's husband. Prosecutors accused the father and daughter of beating Jason Corbett to death. Jason Corbett's family flew in from his home country of Ireland to be in court today, including his daughter Sarah, who is now 16. The retrial is set for June 26th of next year. Jury selection will begin soon.
The Federal Reserve increased the interest rate by 3/4 of a point today. Economists hope the hike will help fight inflation. It's the third increase of that size, and more could be on the way. Coming up at 6, we'll find out how it could impact your wallet.
Well, it's been another nice dry day. Temperatures have climbed into the 80s. Highs were in the upper 80s all across the Triad. 87 in Greensboro, 88 in Winston-Salem, 89 down in Siler City. Those current temperatures have dropped back just a few degrees, but as I widen this view, you can see the heat is all across the southeast. When we look west, you see it's way cooler. This dividing in between the 80s and the 60s is that cold front that's going to be tracking further south. We also see a big change when we talk about the dew points. It's feeling muggy on one side of the line. It's feeling less humid on the other. All of that less humid and cool air is moving in behind that cold front. That cold front crossing the area tomorrow. Out ahead of it, we could see some more active weather. A few scattered showers or storms, very, very few. But overall, the day will be windy, especially going into the evening. We'll see some strong wind gusts at times throughout the late day. Behind that cold front, like I said, that nice fall, cool, refreshing air moves in as we head into the weekend. Starting out the day on Saturday, it's going to be a chilly start to your day. Temperatures barely escaping the 40s for a lot of folks across the Triad. More details on weather at home as well as in the tropics coming up.
Maybe you saw the Guilford County Animal Service post about 4 puppies found on the side of the road in a suitcase. 2 Good Samaritans rescued them and brought them to the shelter. Now they're looking for a new home. WFNY News 2's Jalen Gilkey found out more about these precious pups.
Yeah, Lauren, according to the Guilford County Animal Shelter, the end of summer is usually one of their more busy times of year. But this weekend, even they were shocked when a couple pulled into the parking lot with a suitcase full of puppies.
You want your belly rub?
They've been here since Saturday. They're currently off their stray hold right now. We don't know who abandoned them or not. We did put them on our social media, so there's no one that came forward or has any information. So now they're here and they're ready for foster to adopt.
These 4 adorable black lab puppies haven't been at the Guilford County Animal Shelter long, but the story as to how they got there is one you might not believe.
And the Good Samaritans were driving down the road and saw the suitcase on the side of the road, an old suitcase, and thought they saw it moving. So they stopped, backed up, went there, and saw a nose sticking out of one of the corners. So right away they knew that it was, a puppy or a kitten or something. So they went there and zippered the suitcase, and lo and behold, found these 4 puppies that were in this suitcase on the side of the road.
Debbie Miller is a volunteer at the shelter, and she was on site when the Good Samaritans dropped the suitcase full of puppies off at the shelter.
I was totally shocked, and just my first thing was probably anger that somebody would do that to some, just throw a suitcase full of puppies on the side of the road.
After passing all their medical tests and getting treated for a slight case of worms, this foursome of furry sisters are ready to find a new loving home.
I love you too. I love you too.
And the team at the Guilford County Animal Shelter, they have already named these adorable puppies, and they all have a suitcase theme name, right? Aww. So there's Toomey, Samsonite, Stowaway, and then the last one is my favorite, Carry On.
Carry On.
That is too cute.
At this age, they are carry-on size.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, only for a couple more weeks.
That's right. You just wait.
It makes you wonder the type of person that would do something like this. And while it's sad to see that this has happened, it's probably better than the life that they would have had they stayed with the owner.
And I'm just glad that those Good Samaritans stopped, because I could imagine several cars probably drove by and saw the suitcase, or probably didn't think too much of it. But they said, you know what, let's check this out. So I'm glad that they did that.
And they're better than me, because I'm gonna be honest. If I see a suitcase moving on the side of the road, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a little spooked. But I'm glad that these people were, a little bit nosy.
Yeah.
In the right way, and were able to provide these dogs with the opportunity to find a new home.
Well, and they'll, once people see this.
Oh, I mean, it was already a line of people
gone.
already there when I was there shooting.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they made it to the end of the day. But if you want to know, you call the Guilford County Animal Shelter, ask for the quartet of pups, and they'll let you know who's still available.
For Stowaway. Or
Carry On. I think that's such a cute name.
I love it. All right, we'll take a break. We're coming right back.
The cleanup has just begun for people in Puerto Rico. Hurricane Fiona dumped more than 25 inches of rain in some places there, causing historic flooding and mudslides. It also knocked out power for more than 1 million people. With no electricity, there's no energy to run filtration systems and pump water into homes. That means no clean water for drinking, bathing, or flushing toilets. Samaritan's Purse, based in Boone, has an office in Puerto Rico and says it is an all-hands-on-deck situation.
It takes a lot of people, it takes a lot of our Samaritan's Purse supporters, volunteers, employees. It takes a whole team of people to pull something like this off. And so there's a lot of people praying for us and a lot of people who are going and a lot of people who are sending us. And it's never easy, but the more you do it, we try to be better and better each time we do it and more effective in what we're doing.
FEMA is also sending hundreds of people to help get them back on their feet. Puerto Rico's governor expects to have more power restored over the coming hours. And it's crazy to think, Monique, that this storm is still getting stronger.
Yes, since yesterday to today, we've now upgraded to a Category 4 hurricane that we're talking about when referencing Fiona. But I just want to quickly show you a wider view before jumping further and talking about Fiona as to all the other activity that we're seeing in the tropics. Just a week ago, it did not look like this, but now all eyes are talking about Invest 98, which is also tracking just several miles away from the Windward Islands. This is a closer look at Fiona, our latest update at 2 p.m., getting a new one in within the next hour at 5 p.m. But as of the 2 p.m. update, the winds were still sustained at 130 miles per hour. As of now, it's roughly located 650 miles to the south and west of Bermuda. But you can see this really strong storm continues to pull to the north. And as it does, it's just moving over these warm waters that are keeping it healthy and strong as it continues to pull to the north. So you see the Category 4 hurricane is expected to travel to the north-northwest and stay a major hurricane through that time period. Through that time, it's also going to create large ocean swells all along the coast. So if you are anywhere along the coast, whether you're in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, whatever have you, the rip current risk will be dangerous at area beaches.
You put this into perspective when you talk about rainfall. There were some areas that had over 30 inches of rain from this storm. Greensboro averages about 45 inches of rain a year. And
wow.
Imagine somebody getting 35 inches of rain in a couple days.
That's wild.
It's catastrophic.
Yeah. It's also wild that we can watch a Category 4 storm kind of move up along our coast with really no worries here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible that we're just kind of watching it go by.
It's grateful that we're able to watch those images and that not be our neighborhood. I mean, definitely we're grateful for Samaritan's Purse for going out there and doing that outreach, but we have to also be mindful that these are people's lives that they're literally being lost because of such a system like this.
It makes me think back to Maria, because I remember doing a lot of coverage on that. People who were relocating to the United States and they lost everything, their homes, had to restart their whole life. I know some families here, they couldn't even get in contact with their families there. And some people are still rebuilding from that, which was several years ago. So to think, areas like that are getting hit again, I mean, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it happened in 2017, but then we had the pandemic. And so we've all been in this constant recovery process. So it's so unfortunate when we have tropical systems. But the great thing about tropical systems as compared to thunderstorms happen very quickly. But when we have tropical systems, we have more days to kind of look out and tell you guys advance notice, which is good, especially with Invest 98. A lot of folks on social media curious as to what the track of that will be. We have several days out to really give you the best picture and idea of what will happen to North Carolina, if anything at all.
And it's better once we get about 3 days out.
Yes.
And then we can get a clearer picture.
It's interesting that we're talking about potential catastrophic damage in Canada from a tropical system, right? Because I can't imagine that happens all the time.
Because it's so powerful and it's lasting with this powerful strength all the way up the coast. Most times they'll weaken prior to it. So if they do get something, it'll be some lingering rainfall or something like that. But because it's been so powerful and it's remaining that powerful as it moves into western portions of Canada, it's going to bring in some damage there as well.
We'll be watching this over the next several days, that's for sure. All right, we'll take a break.
Thanks,
Hello,
Facebook.
Let's do that again, Chad. Facebook.
Facebook. What's happening, people?
Remember, like, oh. I didn't realize my mic
Lauren
was
doesn't
up.
want to share.
Hey, everybody.
Do you guys want to try one of these?
I do.
Okay, so they're. Let me try to.
Yeah.
Just take one off of there.
No, I want it in my hand.
Oh, ma'am, excuse me. Oh, see, that's what happens when you.
Dried banana. not
It's a
banana.
freeze-dried pineapple.
That is actually really good. I've had them when they're like sun-dried or like chewy-like, but not.
Oh, I like this.
So freeze-dried is like, I don't know,
Astronaut
when you
food.
guys were kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we were in elementary school, and they would say, "Oh, this is what the astronauts eat."
Ice cream.
It's like freeze-dried ice cream
Yes.
and like strange
Well, I
things.
would like what the astronauts eat if it tastes like that.
Right.
Right. Would you?
Where'd you get this?
Go, oh, I got this from Harris Teeter. Okay. It's like
Oh,
this
okay.
new thing. They have all the, like 6
It's a good
different
candy replacement.
flavors.
Let's go.
The great part is the ingredients: pineapples.
That's it?
Oh, that's
it.
No
That's
added
it. That's
sugar?
Nothing.
Oh, so that's guilt-free. Because you know, some of those like
Right.
dried fruits is
Yep.
so much added sugar.
Exactly.
I'm gonna
saw
go
the
pick some of
carbs
those.
are
Let me take a
16.
picture of this before
They
you
sell
throw
them in like
throw
big
it
packs
out.
too. Otherwise, you can just get them in like
Called
these
crispy fruit.
crispy fruit.
I like that.
Let me see on the back.
Did they have mangoes too?
Yep. Mangoes, pineapples, apples. I bought a couple that are kind of strange today. Like the pineapple was kind of strange, but a banana. Can't imagine that would be good, but.
I don't know. Try it out.
Because I've had banana chips, but I don't know about
Yeah,
a
I've had that.
freeze-dried
Right.
banana, what that would taste like.
All right,
really
Facebook,
good.
we're back. We're gonna
Plantain
come chat
chips
with you
are
in just a
good,
little bit.
too.
'87 is the magic number for this 4 p.m. hour in Winston-Salem. That's the current temperature with plenty of sunshine out there, those dew points in the 50s. Now tomorrow there is a slight storm threat with any of the storms that we do get to see, if any, between about 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. tomorrow. Lightning, damaging winds, heavy rain. The Storm Prediction Center clips parts of the central Piedmont under a marginal risk level 1 for severe weather tomorrow. I do not expect for it to be a very active afternoon. Some of you, if not all of you, will actually be dry. There's really a small chance, but if we do see a storm, it could be strong. So I just want to show you the future cast, keeping things quiet for tonight, and our temperatures will fall into the 70s through the rest of your Wednesday. As we go through the day on Thursday, at times we'll get a little bit more cloud cover. It's going to be hot. But then you saw those storms quickly move through, and most of them staying all across the eastern portion of the central Piedmont. Maybe 1 or 2 storms that pop up, and the main threat being damaging winds. But regardless of where you live, whether you get to see some storms or not, you will all be talking about how windy it will get throughout the day. So your Thursday, we're going to see winds picking up upwards of around 30 miles per hour, maybe even 40 in some spots. After the front crosses, the wind direction will change to out of the north, and the winds will remain strong overnight and continuing to be breezy, at least breezy, maybe upwards of around 20 miles per hour through the early part of your Friday. So the winds sticking with us as that cool story starts, the cool breezy day on Friday with continued cool weather throughout the day on Saturday. It's going to be a chilly start to the day on Saturday. Temperatures for some folks will not even leave the 40s. It's going to be a cool Saturday, and by the afternoon, temperatures should be in the low 70s. Another cold front crosses to end the weekend and reinforces the cool air for next week.
Now that was fun.
I like that. I was like, ooh.
No doubt that food is a great way to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month.
Shelley Stenberg from our Pennsylvania sister station met with the chef, educating people one delicious dish at a time.
Food is a conduit for having any kind of conversation and for bonding in the kitchen. It is a unifier.
And it's a way to pass down tradition.
So this is something that anyone can make at home. It's super easy, it's delicious, and I have some diced onion.
Chef Amalio Moreno-Damgard is an award-winning author.
We're going to pair this egg scramble with homemade corn tortillas, which is also very easy, and the two together go well deliciously. So here we go. If you try it, you'll be hooked for life.
She spreads the joy of cooking around the world, but calls Eden Prairie home.
I was born and raised in Guatemala City. I have been in Minnesota for many years, and I love it here.
Aside from teaching people how to make Latin dishes,
Huevos con tomate, cebolla y nopales. An egg scramble with tomatoes, onions, and cactus. Also potatoes to make it a hash.
Chef Amalia's mission is to educate her readers.
It is also a multicultural area with indigenous people that are now descendants of people that have been there for thousands of years. They have been carrying recipes and ideas and trading for a long time from Mexico all the way down to Panama and beyond into South America. Saute for good 2 minutes or so.
Chef Amalia's journey began with her maternal grandmother in a remote town in Guatemala.
And she made all meals from scratch. She knew how to make just about everything.
And when she left home,
I started trying to recreate what I learned with her, and just trying to learn more about my home country, the culture, the traditional cuisine, the original cuisine, and just started doing it. They taste a little bit like green beans, but they're cactus paddles.
her joy in the kitchen fuels her hunger for knowledge about Latin culture.
It's been a passion that has grown deeper the more I learn about it. Even though we may share staples and ingredients and flavors, we have very distinctive cuisines depending on which country we are from. Now that they're cooked, they start doing this. They start puffing up. And even our language, Spanish, has different nuances depending on the nationality. It's going to be really, really quite simple.
And ultimately, Hispanic Heritage Month is also about knowing about our own country.
We are multicultural, multi-ethnic. We're growing. This is home. This is tradition.
You might have seen Chef Amalia making egg cactus and tomato scramble with homemade corn tortillas. To find that recipe and learn more about her cuisine, look for this story on our website.
I'm hungry.
Always.
I wish I had
good.
some of that.
It's this time of the day.
Absolutely. So, you guys know this. I'm half Mexican, and growing up, my relatives, my grandparents, even my great-grandmother, my favorite memories as a child would see and smell some of the food that they would make.
Gosh, I know.
And it was just like homemade tamales and just so many good things. And I think about that whenever I see like a story like this.
Yeah, I feel like food just ties people together,
Right.
especially say if you're second generation or third generation, maybe you didn't grow up, you know, in that said country. Food is something that teaches you about your culture and just something you can also pass down to your children, so it's always there.
And a lot of people think of, the first thing they'll think of when they come to Hispanic food is just Mexican food, but I mean Cuban influences. When I lived in Tampa, and they'd have, you know, in Spain, there was a Spanish influence there too. So like picadillo and ropa vieja and plátanos, which are like plantains.
Yeah.
The banana, like so good.
Colombian food, like everybody has their own unique thing. Like we were saying here in the United States, different parts of our country even have different foods that are unique to them.
You know, when you talk to, if you're from the South and you talk to, I'm sure you went through this moving to the South, my northern friends will be like, "Yo, you guys eat what?"
Yeah.
You know, sometimes.
Exactly.
Grits. What's a grit?
Right. And like, what's it called? Scrapples in the Northeast. That's kind of a mix of a bunch of different things. And,
I've never heard of that.
yeah, you have to ask Brett about that, our director who's from New Jersey. Yeah, that's a thing.
You guys, I say that we take the day off and we just go and get us some of that, some good food like that.
Can we just re-air the first half hour of the 4?
Yeah, I think y'all would be okay with that, right?
That's fine. We'll take a break. Be right back. Maybe.
Maybe we'll be back.
Maybe.
Some good music
Party
choices.
music today.
Yes.
I like that. Welcome back to the 4 to 5. Eric Chilton, Chad Silver, Monique Robinson, and Lauren Coleman.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching us on Fire Stick, Roku, or the News 2 app, or WFNY News 2.
There's a story that I'm really looking forward to this half hour, and it's an interview you did with a woman from Greensboro who's going to be on Survivor.
Survivor tonight. She couldn't tell us what happens. You know, they won't allow her to do that, but she tells us about her process of how to get on the show.
And tonight is the premiere right here on CBS.
Oh, wow. Very cool, but for now, let's get to developing news on the FBI investigation involving former President Donald Trump. Right now, senators are conducting hearings to confirm the new head of National Archives.
Now, this is usually a low-key affair, but since the Department of Justice is at the center of the investigation, it is much different.
Colleen Shogan, President Biden's nominee to be the next National Archivist, faced a little more scrutiny than usual at her confirmation hearing.
The archivist serves in the capacity, in a nonpartisan, apolitical capacity, and I vowed, if I am confirmed as archivist, to serve in that fashion.
Today's hearing comes with the National Archives in the middle of the investigation into former President Trump's handling of government records. Some Republicans are demanding answers about the FBI search of Trump's Mar-a-Lago home.
Should this be a voluntary cooperation rather than a legal raid with a search warrant coming into a private residence?
I want to be clear that as the nominee for this position, I have not been briefed on any of the details of what has happened.
On Tuesday, the judge appointed to be the special master reviewing all of the documents seized at Mar-a-Lago held his first hearing. Judge Raymond Deary's main focus was on the documents with classified markings. He pushed Trump's attorneys on whether the then president declassified the material prior to leaving office, as Trump himself claims. But Trump's attorneys declined to say, arguing that doing so would complicate their legal defense if the former president is indicted. Deary pushed back on that response, telling the lawyers, "You can't have your cake and eat it too."
The Federal Reserve increased the interest rate by 0.75 points today. Economists hope the hike will help fight inflation. The move is the third increase of that size, and more could be on the way. Experts say it'll affect many consumer and business loans. Coming up at 6, we will find out more about how this could impact your wallet.
Right now, we're shining a light on cognitive diseases. It's World Alzheimer's Day, and about 55 million people across the globe are living with dementia. Here in the U.S., more than 6 million Americans and counting are living with Alzheimer's disease.
Knowing that we have this tsunami of individuals who are going to be developing Alzheimer's disease, we really need to start and continue looking at the research efforts that are going on, looking for treatments that may slow the progression of the disease, but ultimately cure it. And that is why clinical trials are so critically important.
Almost 2/3 of Americans with the disease are women and older Black Americans. Researchers say this group is more likely to have the disease or suffer from other dementias compared to older white Americans. Dementia is a general term for decline in mental ability severe enough to interfere with daily life. Alzheimer's is the most common cause of dementia. 81-year-old Hetty Dawkins suffered from the illness and wandered away from her High Point home last month. Her disappearance led to a week-long search. Crews later found her body not far from where she lived. Dawkins left behind a large family, including 4 grandchildren and 17 great-grandchildren.
The Guilford County Sheriff's Office has a program to help find people who have dementia, Alzheimer's, or other cognitive disorders and have wandered off. People enrolled in what's called Project Lifesaver wear a bracelet that can be found with a radio locating system. If you'd like to know more about this program, you can reach out to the Guilford County Sheriff's Office. And unfortunately, this is a program that is not very well known. I mean, we did this story after Hetty Dawkins had wandered off, and the Sheriff's Office said that they don't have many people who are part of the program because not many people know about it. But that they say they have a 100% success rate of finding people after they've wandered off.
Well, it's great we're doing stories like this because it's a disease that impacts so many people, and not just those suffering from the disease, but families in general, caregivers. It literally impacts everyone.
And you're right. So my uncle had Alzheimer's. He ended up passing away from that. And what that does to the family is just as bad as what, in some ways maybe worse than what it does to the actual patient, because, there were his children bringing in their kids, and he doesn't know anybody, doesn't recognize anybody more. Emotionally, it's very, very difficult on the family.
And just knowing the signs, if someone's showing some early signs that there is help out there, there are resources out there. I think a lot of times in the beginning, people aren't necessarily aware. I did a long form story on this disease last year, and they were saying just check for little things like, is there expired food in your parents' fridge, or are they forgetting little things like taking their medicine and things of that nature, because it could be a bigger problem.
Do you have to keep track of that?
Just keeping track, especially if you know it's something that runs in your family. But even if it doesn't run in your family, just, don't think it was just a one-time thing. You might want to look more into it because they could actually be suffering to some extent.
Did we do a story? It seems like I remember some medical thing where they were saying that now they can tell if you could have Alzheimer's, like genetically, they can see if you can have that later on, and you can start watching for it earlier. I think I remember.
There's so many different tests and different things coming out, but if there is, that's definitely helpful. So then you can start, getting your ducks in a row to probably try to slow down the cognitive decline.
All right, interesting. Hey Monique, how's the weather?
Well, it's hot outside. If you've been outside within the last hour or two, you felt the heat. And tomorrow, we're getting another round of it. 87 in Greensboro, 88 in Burlington. Those were the high temperatures. And right around those still current temperatures, we're in the heart of the heat of the day right now. Between about 2 and 5 p.m., that's the hottest part of the day. All across the southeast, we're feeling the heat. 92 in Columbia. Glad I'm not there. Widening our view, you see even more warm spots. 101 in in Little Rock. Now, as we look west, Omaha sitting at 66. This is the cooler air that's going to be moving our way behind that cold front that we're all been waiting for, that's going to be moving through tomorrow. So you can even see there's a difference between the humidity all across the area. The dew points are reading in the 60s. We have dew points in the 40s as we look towards the west. And that's all behind the cold front. That cool fall air brings in cooler temperatures as well as lower humidity. There's going to be a big contrast in weather that we feel walking out the door, comparing your day today, tomorrow, and then Friday. Friday and especially Saturday, when you get 48 hours after that cold front moves through, you really get to feel the effects of it. So on Saturday, we're going to be all talking about the big change in fall air. Temperatures barely getting out of the 70s. We'll be back with more weather in just a bit.
Well, after 22 years, 620 episodes, 646 contestants, and 639 torch snuffs. Yeah, the new era of Survivor returns tonight. This is the 43rd edition. There are 18 new castaways, but one in particular will have the Triad's attention, that's for sure. Lindsay Carmine is from Greensboro. I had a chance to speak with her today. She has been a super fan since the show's first season and even applied for 3 or 4 times before this year trying to get there and making it to the finals last season, only to get COVID 12 hours before she was supposed to leave. But this time she made it, and she said to get on this show is almost as difficult as being on it.
The casting process is an almost year-long procedure. And our family jokes around about how it's a full-time job. I mean, you're going through interviews with casting producers, directors, Jeff and Matt, our executive producers. You're having psychological exams, you're doing IQ test and EQ test. You go through a lot. There's a ton of paperwork. They do background checks on you. So when they decide that you can be a cast member, I mean, they know what they're doing out there.
So of course she can't tell us how she did, but she did say that her regular job, she's a nurse, actually helped her through this process.
I trained for this. I knew it would be hard, but I think what prepared me was being a frontline worker in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, the game's going to show you tonight that I'm currently a pediatric nurse, but I took care of COVID patients for a very long time. And I just kept telling myself that if I can handle that and I can go through my patients dying on me of COVID, I can handle anything. And so I feel like it definitely gave me a leg up.
So it's interesting, she said her mother started watching it very first season, what was that, 21 years ago?
2000, yeah.
Was it 2000? And she called her and said, Lindsay, this is perfect for you. So she started watching, got hooked, applied at episode 2, and then got to the finals 2 more times later, because then she said she went through college, got married, had babies, all that. She tried again, 2 times made it to the finals and got cut.
Wow.
And then last year made it, and 12 hours before she was supposed to leave, got COVID because she's a nurse. So finally, they let her come back this year.
That just means it wasn't her time. So that means God has something special planned for you, girl. Like, she might actually take it all home. I mean, to be preparing this long and then finally get on there.
She said it's
great.
just as taxing mentally as it is physically, probably more so.
And think about the determination. I mean, for years she's tried to get on this thing.
2 decades.
Most people have probably been like, you know what, I tried, I'm out.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I could do this, but she said she's always wanted to. You know, I think, side note, I've told you that she and her husband Andy went to college with my wife, so I've met them several times at weddings and stuff. And she said, I have for 2 decades I've wanted to be on this show, so now here she is.
And for her to be such a super fan and been watching since the very beginning is probably going to give her a leg up, because I'm sure they might repeat some of the different challenges to some extent. So
it's going to be interesting to watch, that's for sure. She did say, mentally, she said, I'm kind of a friendly connector, you know, if you're a pediatric nurse, you would be friendly with families and the kids and all that. And she said, but I had to turn my volume down a little bit because you have to make alliances, but be careful, right? You may make the alliance with the wrong person. She said, my normal friendly demeanor I had to tune down some.
I was reading on Facebook today that there is another North Carolinian on the show this year. He just graduated with his doctorate from Duke University.
Wow.
And he has quite the story. I was reading about him that when he was a child, he joined a gang and was in a gang until he got into juvie, got his GED, and then went to UC Berkeley, got his degree, and then just graduated with a doctorate from Duke University. So turning his life around. We're working on that story for next week. But,
that's really
cool.
cool.
Really cool story.
I didn't know that. I'll forgive him for going to Duke. But other than that, just kidding. Survivor 43 is airing right here on WFMY News 2. It's at 8 o'clock, followed by the 34th season premiere of The Amazing Race, another great show. We're coming right back.
Facebook. I know that you missed us the past couple of days. I apologize for that. We had a producer who was filling in. We had a director who was filling in. So we're trying to keep it as simple as possible so there were no hiccups. But Brad is off this week. I know some of you have been wondering about Brad.
Good old Brad.
Kiana is back today. She has been working a different shift, filling in for some people on the morning show. I know Monique is happy that everybody's here, right, Monique?
Yeah. Chad, talk about, oh look, there's Kiana. Hello.
Hey Kiana, welcome back. I said welcome home because this is her home now. Wait, hold on. You're not going to, hold on. Let me see. Okay, now go to, who's directing right now? Michaela?
Yeah.
You got to show yourself. Now you got to wave.
She's like, that's all I'm doing.
Right.
Chad, talk about the newbie in the Facebook room earlier.
Oh yeah, so funny. You probably all saw this. Somebody, it was very funny. Let me see if I can get back to it. I think pronounced Chan. Chan Shaver wrote, "Is the camera still supposed to be running while they're talking about pineapple?"
I was going to tell you guys about the pineapples, but I didn't eat too many of those. They make you gassy.
Really?
They have a lot of fiber in them.
They pulled your microphone up right when you said gassy.
She said if you eat too many of those.
So how funny though. So I responded to Chan and I said, actually, yes, this is what we do during commercial breaks. But that would be funny if we didn't know about it. We were just kind of talking about
People in
pineapple.
the beginning thought that's what they thought. They said, I got texts from tons of my friends going, your mic is on, your mic is on. Like,
don't swear, don't say anything bad.
Right, that's right.
All right, well, Monique's gonna have a story here in just a little bit. So, and you're gonna love some of the video. Panda video.
Panda. I'm at A3.
See you soon, Facebook.
Do you remember the special red panda birth we announced in June at the Greensboro Science Center? Ravi was the first successful red panda birth at the center. Well, Sam Andreski is one of many with the fun job of playing with Ravi every day, among many other odd jobs.
Sam Andreski. Some call her the donkey doctor.
He's a good boy.
She's also tasked with checking the health of every wildlife roaming the Greensboro Science Center.
3 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go.
You might also see her knee-deep in surgery.
During our procedures, I'm running our anesthesia, I'm placing catheters.
But the best part of her job is playtime with Ravi, the center's newest red panda.
It's a tough job, guys.
Andreski's been by Ravi's side as he's grown from this to this.
Hey, Ravi. Hey, crazy man. We have scheduled play sessions to where we play with him just like a sibling or a mom would.
Andreski says Ravi is a big hit for young visitors, which is easily seen on the walls of his temporary home.
Our son drew this picture of the baby red panda with its stuffed animals after our visit. Thank you, Susan. He had a wonderful time and we can't wait to visit again.
Andreski says as a child, she too visited zoos and aquariums, just like these visitors.
My parents grew up taking us to zoos and aquariums all over the place, and I just always had a passion for animals in general, but it was the exotic animals, the wildlife, that I knew I wanted to help.
The Greensboro College grad had no clue the Science Center was right around the corner.
I was here for 4 years for college and had no idea the Greensboro Science Center existed.
And Andreski said she definitely didn't know at the time it could also be the job of her dreams.
I graduated and my mom told me I needed to get a job to pay my rent. And so I started scouring and I looked hard, and that's when I finally started seeing these opportunities right up the road from me.
9 years ago, Andreski started as a Science Center volunteer with a plan to go to graduate school and study marine biology.
And then I met Dr. Sam, who was contracted here at the time, and the whole idea of zoo medicine sparked my interest, and I kind of changed my entire career path.
Today, visitors can watch her work. Andreski says seeing is what could kickstart curiosity and inspire the next veterinarian tech, just like it did for her.
Because just like me at that age, I didn't know that was an option. And so to open the door for people that this may be the route they want to go with their lives, it definitely, it's inspiring and it feels great.
Robbie was the cutest thing. It was like a teddy bear. Like, and right after we walked out of the room, she said immediately he's going to fall asleep. And so we went back and we peeked in the window, and he was balled up in the corner with his tail and asleep. It was so cute.
Yeah, he just had me smiling. What's the saying that says, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life? I feel that way about her, because that just looks like a ball of fun.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a passion for animals and you get to hang out with animals like Robbie. It just seems like an amazing time.
Yes, when she was helping him with the baby panda, and also when she was with the donkeys and showing all those tasks that she does throughout the day, we're like, isn't this a lot of work? And she's like, no, I actually grew up on a farm with my family, so I used to do this with horses and other, animals on the farm. So this is like second nature to her. It is like just fun love for her because she loves being with animals.
And how funny is that she went to school right around the corner from the Science Center and didn't even know it was a thing, and now it's her home.
It's like sometimes our blessings are right in front of us and we don't even see it until somehow, some way, something happens and we finally are like, oh, that was right there the whole time.
But she's here now, and she's blessing so many lives of so many animals.
Yeah, and so many young children. The Greensboro Science Center is a place of peace for so many. They love seeing the animals and the nature, and so she's doing some great work.
Yeah. Great story, Monique.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a All right, so we know fall officially begins tomorrow, right? But this is what the rest of the year looks like, my friends. When you look at the countdown of holidays, it's like we are running out of years. So the one that I want to zero in on is Christmas time.
Ooh.
I want to know if anybody at this table has bought at least one Christmas present.
Not me. I told you guys, I kind of wait till the week of, the week before.
No, I have not. This year I have
Chad
not.
Silver?
I have, yep.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Nice.
So you buy throughout the
Charlotte?
year?
No, not for Charlotte. No,
Oh,
for my
okay.
mother, actually.
Oh, hey mom, where'd he get ya? All right, well, Christmas may be the furthest thing from your mind, but thousands of folks have been making Christmas ornaments already. Here's why. I want you to check these out. These are handmade ornaments from natural materials. Now these, I'm going to show you first. We're going to bring each one first. This is UNCG students at the Grogan Residence Hall. They painted pieces of wood. Now these lighthouses are made from repurposed toilet paper rolls. These are kids from Forsyth County 4-H. And then the last group of pictures, these are paw print ornaments that were made by visitors to the North Carolina Zoo in Asheboro. Why were they made? Here's why.
Rest assured, these ornaments will adorn a Christmas tree in Washington, D.C., whether it's the U.S. Capitol tree or one of the many others that will go throughout Washington, D.C.
Yeah, so this year North Carolina's Christmas tree was picked to be the Capitol tree. And then as tradition goes, the state gets to make the ornaments to put on the tree.
Wow, that's really cool. I did not know that. I love the little lighthouses too. Those are really cute.
Those are
The
super
kids.
cute.
I like lighthouses.
Yeah, I like the wooden ones at the end. Those were cute.
I haven't made an ornament since I was a kid.
Seriously, we should do that.
And they were all really bad.
Did it have your school picture in the middle and like the popsicle sticks around it?
Or your handprint, you know.
Yep,
Yeah.
I made as a turkey.
A turkey,
Yes, exactly.
All right, so now these ornaments, everybody was able to make them and send them in by September the 1st. They said they got 7,500 ornaments and they're still counting.
Wow.
That's a few ornaments, friends.
We should have made some.
We should have
Some
made
4
some.
to
We did
5
not,
ones.
We still have time to do
unfortunately.
them just for. We'll do a 4
We
to 5
can do a
tree.
4 to 5 tree.
Yes,
We'll do a
Charlie
4 to
Brown
5.
tree.
And I would like to see your face in the middle of popsicle sticks, please.
From first grade?
Yes, yes.
All right, so the Forest Service takes the tree from Western North Carolina to the Capitol, but it goes on a state tour first. So this is what I want to show you. You probably have your phone nearby, snap a pic, or go to your calendar and mark this down because the North Carolina Christmas Tree Tour starts in early November. And the tree hits cities all along the way. And what I did was I highlighted the ones that were closest to us. Wednesday, November 9th, it's going to be in Mount Airy, your hometown. And then on Thursday, November 10th, it will be at the North Carolina Zoo. And I've got all these details in the 2 Wants to Know section for you.
Oh, did you ask me to do my mic? 1 2 1 2. I'm Eric Chilton. Who? Over, yeah, V home.
Hello, how's everyone doing? It is Wednesday afternoon. 1 2 3 4 5.
Hey, mic check. 1 2 3 4 5. Check check. Sorry about that. 1 2 1 2. Check check.
Mic check, 1 2 3, 3 2 1, 1 2 3. Am I first or is Sydney first? Sydney, I think. She is. And where are you at? I think. 10-9-876-54321. 10-9-876-54321.
Talk about one of the worst kept secrets in college sports. After all the rumors, the ACC confirmed they will move headquarters from Greensboro to Charlotte. It's not that big of an economic impact, about 50 jobs transferring from our area. Plus, Greensboro will still get to host tournaments. But the ACC has been here for 7 decades. It is part of Greensboro history, and some folks are sad to see it go. It would have been great to keep the headquarters. That said, there are still so many reasons to be proud of where we live. We're growing at an astonishing rate. Boom Supersonic and Toyota are bringing thousands of new jobs to our area, and companies that are already established here like Volvo are expanding offices. Our young people in the Triad are leading the charge of a new green economy. North Carolina A&T just landed a major program to train green energy workers. And speaking of green, Greensboro is gorgeous. Trees everywhere you look. There's never a shortage of things to do here either. Between the Tanger Center, new award-winning restaurants, and another festival every couple of weekends. Finally, in a time when inflation is making it tough for people all over, Greensboro is one of the most affordable cities in our region. Our average home prices are half as much as Raleigh and about $150,000 under Charlotte. I get that losing the ACC is a bummer, but it's not going to change the way I feel about our neighborhood. That's my 2 cents. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Gun violence keeps hitting our communities. A recent trend shows more teenage suspects and, unfortunately, teenage victims.
Yes, we're following 2 of these cases very closely. One involves a 14-year-old